com.
Cool. So I'm live here with Alex Moss, creator of Tactical Arbitrage, and we're just going to be going through a little bit of the basics, and then we're going to jump into some more advanced stuff. So I see we already got over 100 people in here, and more people will come trickling in as we.
You know how to pull a crowd.
Yeah, I try. But hello everybody joining chat here. Great.
36. That's great, man. The,
Sweet. I think we
I like.
had
I love the name of your YouTube channel too, the Millionaire Millennial. I can't come up with anything as exciting as that. I'm
I
Gen X, so I'm
honestly,
like,
when I made the name, it was just something that just pops up. I didn't even put a lot of time into thinking of it. I was like, I'm a millennial. I want to be a millionaire. And I know that.
he has to
But
be well and truly on the way by now. So
yep, well on the way. Well on the way. Great. So we got people from everywhere. So if you didn't know, Alex, he's actually in Australia, and you guys already know that I live in Dallas. But it's like 11 in the morning your time, right?
yeah, it's 11 o'clock. The day's in full swing. We got some contractors upstairs doing some work. The
Nice.
the wife's got some friends over. The toddler's running around juggling tactical arbitrage work. It's just a standard chaotic day here at
Sounds
Tactical
like it.
Arbitrage headquarters. We never
Fantastic.
really extracted from the house to go and get an external office. It was always the plan, you know. But at the end of the day, you can do so much with just a
Oh yeah.
desk and a computer
Absolutely.
that
That's all
that's
I have.
secondary. Yeah, I mean, we don't really need a warehouse because I'm not selling online as much as I was. So it's for me just working here, talking to my developers, and getting stuff done is good. And being close to family is good too.
What about when Amazon Australia opens up? Do you plan on kicking it up hardcore there?
100%. We actually already got all of our Seller Central accounts all set
Nice.
up. They're starting very firmly in the merchant fulfilled sector, and we've got the post company here is called Australia Post, and they seem to be battling Amazon a little bit. They're giving all of the major retailers in Australia this kind of free postage kind of deal if you spend over a certain amount. And I think that's to offset Prime.
I see.
So it's really good actually for the consumers because the competition is driving the prices of the postage down, and then I think fulfillment by Amazon is going to follow shortly afterwards because of that, which
Oh
is
yeah,
which is
absolutely.
good. That's where I really want to jump in hard.
Yep. So I guess let's just get going with what we're going to be talking about. So how about you just introduce yourself a little more than you know who you are, I guess,
Yeah,
and
I'm just
just what
looking for
tactical arbitrage is.
these names of people jumping on in here. It's like Dawn says good day, and Josh says good to know we got someone from Dubai here. Maria
Oh yeah.
says hey. And well, anyway, my name is Alex, Alex Moss. I'm the creator of Tactical Arbitrage. Tactical Arbitrage is software that, if you don't know already, analyzes buying opportunity products that you can purchase from various retail stores. This is one way of using the software. And it compares and matches against Amazon.com. Or if you're in the UK, it also works internationally for Amazon UK. And it compares the prices after Amazon takes their fees with your buy price and spits out the return on investment to let you know whether or not that may be a good buy opportunity for you. Now, it's evolved a lot since then. We also have Amazon to Amazon style flipping in there. We've got a library search module, which allows people to focus on selling books. We've got reverse search, which looks at the Amazon products first and then reaches back into our database of stores and examines for buying opportunities in that direction. And we've also got a wholesale module in there which allows you to import, say, manifests from wholesalers that you may have built relationships with, and analyze, their product list to see whether or not you can extract some good deals from there. So it's evolved quite a lot, and it's still evolving. There's quite a lot coming too. But that's tactical arbitrage, and in a nutshell.
Nice, nice. A lot of people here already use it too, because I see Christopher says he's running his first search right now, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
So,
awesome, man.
so what? I know that you are more familiar probably with Australian stores than United States stores, but I'm sure you are also familiar with U.S. stores by now. What are some of your favorite stores to source?
Well, it's funny. A lot of people go and hit hit the obvious stores. They dive into the Target, the Walmart, and whatnot. And inevitably, you can, and actually, it happens less than you think, but you can end up tripping over somebody else who's purchased the same product as you, because you've just basically focused on Target.com toys, the current special they're running right on those toys. And that's going to be a popular place to search. And we actually have 600 stores in TA right now that you can search from. And so I definitely recommend that you get off the beaten track and have a look at some of those other stores. I like universal product code stores, which are stores that have the barcode detail in the store, because they match really well with the products over at Amazon, which means that you're going to get a more of a consistently good run of matches in your view data page, which is the page where you analyze your products. And also, I like going to stores that most people wouldn't think of. Like, there's some stores that have just got little tiny computer parts, like diodes, like buy diodes for $1.98 each, and then they're selling on Amazon for maybe $12.50, and it's not a very big margin. But the thing is, nobody's on the product, nobody's selling them, nobody's thinking to jump into those, and there's lots and lots of opportunities. And some of those part type stores as well, they've got a lot of things like, if you buy four units of these little transistors or whatever, then they'll drop the price by 25% again. So that's really untapped. I like getting into that sort of stuff. Also little car parts and things as well. Anything that are small parts, people seem to overlook in favor of just your big brand toys and your big brand sporting wear and shoes and that kind of thing. It's good to like examine all the different areas, and actually the parts, little computer parts and stuff, most people are already ungated for example. So that's not something that you need to jump through extra hoops to start selling.
And I've seen that when you search it, like Walmart and Target, you're going to get hit with, like you said, the bigger brands, brand gates, and problems like that. And when you find these little tiny stores that maybe they only sell like 1,000 products, but like they're almost all really good sales. So yeah, that's a great piece of advice, is to look at those smaller stores that maybe you've never heard of before, because they'll probably have something you can definitely find. Let's see. So,
hey, Ian's here from Melbourne, Australia.
I saw that.
How you going, mate? Good to see a fellow Aussie in here.
And then a couple people have asked, what's a good browser to use? Because I heard someone was running into issues when they were using Safari or something, and I don't know if there's particular browsers that you support more than other ones.
We don't support Internet Explorer.
I believe
we've got Chrome and Firefox are by far the most obvious default that work very well. I believe Opera and Safari have no issues running as well. If there is any particular bug that you see when operating something like Safari, please submit a support ticket. We want to make sure we support as many browsers as possible, with the exception of Internet Explorer. It's just too difficult to navigate through their requirements to make it work. And the thing is that when you're operating an Amazon FBA business, you're normally running Chrome extensions. You want the Keeper Chrome extension, and there's a whole bunch of Chrome extensions that you can, make your entire experience so much more profitable and so much easier by using those tools. So most people are in Chrome anyway. So my go-to recommendation is Chrome. Although my developer actually tests everything in Firefox, and I always have to say to him, well, make sure you also get that 100% in Chrome too.
Yeah, for sure. So Firefox and Chrome.
Firefox is arguably going to always work the best, but Chrome should work on a par with that.
Great. So yeah, I didn't know that you guys didn't support Internet Explorer, but I'm not surprised, honestly. It's kind of clunky. So.
It actually mostly works. It's just that when the scan is running, the logging detail on the side page doesn't come up as it should. And for some people, that's that's enough to make them skip over to Chrome, because it's nice to see those logs while it's operating.
Yeah, that's for sure. I usually look at those just for fun.
Yeah, Eric said something which would be great to submit in a bug report, because we can easily check that, Eric. The Safari works, but there's a bit of a misalignment of the column headings. So definitely, if you're having a problem with Chrome, and I have heard this about Chrome, and I've experienced it with certain builds of Chrome, that Chrome can be a little slow at times. That's not necessarily a tactical arbitrage thing. It just seems to be the way that it manages the memory. but you could always pop across to Firefox. I think Firefox has all of the key FBA extensions as well, unless there's a particularly
Yeah,
unique one
I
that
think
you're
I think
using.
they do because I had a student that was having problems actually with Chrome, and she switched to Firefox, and like all of the problems went away. So I don't know if that was her not knowing entirely what she was doing, or just Firefox being like you said your developer uses Firefox, so I guess that makes sense.
Now, Mitchell says the logs are pretty clutch sometimes.
Yeah, they really are.
Now, is that a word that I should know? Is that a
uh,
millennial word? Am
it's
I showing much agenda?
definitely it's definitely an American slang word, and it's definitely a young person American slang word. It basically just means like really good.
So,
So
so
just like
dope.
really helpful. It comes in handy. You know. Yeah, yeah. That's kind of it.
Sorry
what
about
would
that
be
hammering
the
upstairs. I can't do anything about the guy hammering upstairs. He's installing a
he's not that
door, and I
loud.
forgot he was coming the same day we had this on. So
No problem, no problem. What Australian slang would be for like? Do you have a slang word for like for clutch for if it comes in handy
we
something
still
like that?
like a lot of the American vernacular comes to us anyway. So we still use sweet and dope and awesome and
Well,
cool and
you're about 10 years behind. I guess it takes a while to get over
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it.
And apparently, you can't make fetch happen. So fetch is not a word. I don't know if you've seen the movie. Have you seen the movie Mean Girls?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, well,
yeah. Okay.
the movie, the word fetch in there. Somebody there in the chat will get it. Stop trying to make fetch a thing. Fetch is never going to happen.
Oh my god. Yep, I don't think it ever will, to be honest. Why don't let's do a little bit reverse search because that's what a lot of people have been asking for in some of
Yeah.
our
Do you want me to share my screen? Do you want to
yeah,
jump in and
let's do
share?
that.
Yeah. No problem. I'm going to do that now. And if you see questions, because I'm going to not see the screen anymore. So if you see questions come through, you want to shout them
Yeah,
out to me, I'm
I'll
happy
shut
to
them out.
answer and field anything as I go. But I'm going to go blind here and go to screen. And you also have to tell me if,
It stops working or something.
well, my screen is massive. It's like 2,800 pixels. So I'm going to have to blow this up so that most people can see it.
Oh yeah.
Let me know when it's a good size for you.
But probably right there is probably good.
Right about there?
Yeah.
Okay.
If everybody
Yeah,
in chat can
I've
read
got this
that,
big curved monitor, which is essentially two monitors fused into one. It's
nice.
fun toy, but it's messy with screen sharing.
I would imagine. Yeah, if
So
people that are watching, if you can read his screen like pretty well, you know, give me like a yes in chat or something like that. But it looks good. It looks good to me.
okay, so get into a reverse search. I should mention as well, if you're already a user, one thing we've been working on is I think it was originally supposed to be a 157 video series. It's now evolved into like 200. But all of the reverse search videos in the video guide pop out on the side here. Um, Also, when you change pages to view reverse, a different set of videos will appear here. So they're page specific, these videos,
Great.
and they're kind of worded in a way that you should be able to identify exactly with the filter you're trying to run. So where it says also show title matches up here, you can see that there's a video that corresponds that says show title matches, and it'll explain what that switch is. So one way or another, you can get all the information you need about this page from those side videos. And normally, when I'm actually explaining the videos, there's a few little tips in there too. And actually, I have to speak to my offsider because I see that 702 has the 703 video there, but I'll talk to him about that.
Nitpicky
That's
stuff,
easy.
you know.
Alrighty, so the reverse search page. Now, essentially, what this will do is it'll take a list of Amazon ASINs, and then it'll reach back into our stores to try and find profitable items. Now, if you've got Storefront Stalker installed, then you can find a list of ASINs really easy simply by going down and just selecting an Amazon category, say like toys and games, and then just starting your scan after you've set some filters. That's a really fast way to start running. And in the video series, actually the last video of View Reverse, I do just that. I scan a really obvious category. I go toys and games, action figures, bang. And then within maybe 2 minutes, there was profitable items appearing on the page. So I'll never like this is me running it in the middle of the Christmas period, running one of those popular categories that you could possibly run, doing a reverse search on that without even having added in any discounts, which you normally would add in your discounts, whether a store has 15% off or whatever. And there was profitable items there. So I'll never understand when people say they can't find profitable items with tactical arbitrage, because you will find them, and you'll find them quickly without with very little work.
For sure.
Um,
So, Storefront Stalker is great, and that's what I use. But there are other people that, start low budget, they want to go bare bones. I know you can, import directly. What do you think is the easiest way if you didn't have Storefront Stalker and you wanted to go reverse search?
So Storefront Stalker, there's actually two levels to that. Level one is where you just unlock tactical arbitrage features with it. And I think it's significantly cheaper. A lot of people, I think, then get impulse, maybe I should buy the Chrome extension as well. And it is a good upsell, I do get that. But you can actually just unlock the TA features for significantly cheaper than getting the Chrome extension as well. However, and we don't, tactical arbitrage is not like this unfolding box of these. It's not like Electronic Arts in the new Battlefront game where you have to keep on unlocking things for more dollars.
It's not a pay to win game, right?
Yeah. So there was just this one tool that a mate of mine had made, Storefront Stalker, and I really wanted that functionality in tactical arbitrage, and I didn't want to just like add it to TA because it would be a real prick of a thing to do to somebody. So I just said, look, can I please like have this arrangement with you where if they have purchased your product, it will allow me to unlock functionality of such within tactical arbitrage. So that relationship was built, and it's kind of the only time I did that. So it's not like playing a game and having to buy all this downloadable content. So that is one option. However, I did add something which I find is very similar for getting to a lot of ASINs quickly. It doesn't require Storefront Stalker, and it's this little feature down here. It says quick keyword search. So what you can come down here is I can type in here.
Your screen is cropped on the sides.
So, is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I can bring that in a bit. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to grab the side here.
Yeah, you can move it a little bit more over.
Why isn't it grabbing that? I'm trying to grab it. Hang on a sec. There we go. So how are we looking there?
Yes, that'll do.
Okay. All right. I got to be careful because behind this page is all my Bitcoin private keys, and I forgot to hide those because we changed computers quickly. So yeah, as long as I don't click on anything other than the browser screen, we should be safe.
Yeah. Don't want to do that.
Cryptocurrency at all?
What's that?
You get into cryptocurrency at all?
I've been looking at it, but a few people I know that also run YouTube channels, they've been hacked because of their popularity and they're known Bitcoin investors. So that's it's dissuaded me. I was going to actually put a lot of money into it last month, but after that I'm kind of like iffy now. I'll probably come around and get over it and actually invest in it, but not
tricky,
yet.
Man. I keep everything offline on USB sticks, and I won't click on any anything that comes through my email anymore. I won't open any documents that might run sort of some kind of script or anything that could possibly phish my passwords or keys or anything, because I bought it so long ago. So I bought all my cryptocurrency so long ago that it's actually added up to quite a bit now. So I'm super secure with it all. So quick keyword search. This is sort of the workaround if you don't have Storefront Stalker, and it's just another quick way to get to results. So let's say you want to just have a look at Lego. And Lego is restricted for a lot of people, so this might not be for everyone. One thing I want to say about brand restrictions, though, is you'll find that ASIN to ASIN, that restriction might shift. Like we have a setting in tactical arbitrage where you can actually exclude all brands. Like if you've got a problem with Lego in general, you can avoid Lego from coming up in all your searches by saying exclude Lego from ever showing again. I don't recommend people overuse this because I might find that out of like 20 Lego items, that 11 of them I'm restricted for once I check it out, and 9 of them, for some reason, don't have that restriction in place. And what I'm putting it down to is that the listing was probably put up by a third party and not put up by the official channels. It still exists. The listing became popular. It may have become the default for that particular Lego item, but the restrictions were never kind of allocated to that. So I do recommend that. I always like to look at more data in my results than less, and then chuck out the bad stuff later and just keep the good. It doesn't take that long to sort through stuff once you get into the habit of it.
No, not at all.
So if I was to do a quick keyword search Lego, I can either search throughout the entirety of Amazon, or I can drill down and say toys and games. Now it works a bit differently. I'll show you how this one works. Normally when I run a search in reverse product, I will have either imported bulk product codes, which is a CSV of ASINs, and I may have used a tool like Storefront Stalker Chrome extension to grab those ASINs, or I've entered in like a quick search here where I've entered in just a bunch of comma separated ASINs that I want to just have a quick look at. I've used Storefront Stalker, or I've used this keyword search. Now, for all of them except for the keyword search, it'll just start running the scan straight away. Keyword search is works a bit differently. It actually goes to Amazon first. It looks at how many pages that there are. So let's say there's 100 pages at 24 items per page. It'll then go through. It'll see how many of those have got the word Lego on them. It'll count them all over on the right-hand side here. And then when it finishes counting what it's going to look at, then it begins the search. So it takes those few extra seconds to actually initiate the search. Hence why when showing live examples, it's not as good as just selecting a Storefront Stalker option and just clicking run, because it's going to take those few extra seconds to start a scan. But looks like there's plenty of Lego on there, so I'm going to stop that, and I will just grab like toys and games, categories, and it'll be building toy Lego, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would imagine.
Let's go building toys, and we'll start a scan.
So what are your?
Oh, so you'll notice that in starting that scan, I set no filters at all.
That's what I was getting ready to ask about.
So traditionally you would, right? So when you very first start with Tactical Arbitrage, I totally suggest you explore the software by just putting nothing in there. Just start a scan, and then going on over to View Reverse. And I got to admit, we've skipped a step, because most people would start with product search and then evolve to reverse search. We can have a look at product search in a minute. But by putting in no filters at all, you're just going to see all of the info. You're going to have a look at all of the kind of things that you're going to see. And you're going to see them warts and all, with no return on investment, with negative return on investments, that kind of thing. And you're not going to see everything good. And once you can see that all that data's there, then you go in and play with it. Stop your search, run it again, and you go in and you'll add your filters. So you might want to remove filters with ranks over, say, 350,000. You can remove oversized products. You can remove if the number of reviews is less than a certain amount. You can remove products that are less than, say, $15 or $20 on Amazon, and so on. And you can keep on making these little adjustments, but I would suggest that you don't over filter, because the more you over filter, the less likely you are to see positive results. And sometimes filters actually clash with each other too. If you put a return on investment of, say, 30% and ranks over 250,000, then you might get something which has got a rank of 251,000 with like 200% return on investment. But you're going to miss that product because it's just outside the rank. Or you might get something with a rank of 1,000 that's just selling all day long, but you've got a return on investment of 29%. So see how those two scenarios, you've actually cancelled out two good products by over filtering. And that's just with two filters. So I always suggest to keep the filters nice and loose. Don't over filter. It's good to have all these options here. I mean, I'm in Australia. I use a prep house. My prep house has quite a big jump in price for oversized product packaging. So personally, I usually skip the oversized products. That's not to say that built into the price, there can still be profitable items there. But I did want that filter in there for the times that I just wanted to not mess around with oversize, for example.
Interesting.
Um,
Yeah, I'm also pretty loose on the filters. I'll go usually around 10% and just kind of either sort by ROI or just like kind of look through all of those like that. But yeah, definitely keep them loose as far as the filters that you want to use.
Absolutely. I'm going to go across to product search because this is our flagship product. And are you okay with skipping away from
Oh
reverse,
yeah.
or was there something particularly on reverse that you wanted to have a look at?
No, I think definitely solid on reverse. I think so. Let's check out product search and see if we can find some stuff.
Yeah, why not? Let's just see if we can find something. And why don't we have a look right into the most commonly searched area at Christmas time to see if anybody's left us anything? Because I
Doubtful.
almost wouldn't expect, I wouldn't almost wouldn't expect there to be very much like left in the toy category at Target at this time of year. But I'm always game for a look. So I'm going to clear the bulk categories because I want to explain how that works too. This is a really cool new feature we've just added. Um, I'm going to like reduce the size of my screen a little bit because it's popped everything out just a bit. I'm going to website. We're going to go Target. Once upon a time, you always had to go into tactical arbitrage and go read this category example.
Oh god, I
Go
remember
and
that.
find and you know what? It worked. It worked really well. You can make your own bulk lists. People were selling bulk lists. But I built this relationship with a guy called Javier San Juan who operates a website called Tactical Bucket. I suggest you check that out. There's also information about it on the screen here, just above the Easy Bulk feature. And and with data that he had already collected and a development that my guys put together, we were able to create Easy Bulk. And it's as simple now as going, I want to search toys. I want to add every single URL that has to do with toys on Target to an Easy Bulk. Add to bulk. Hit that button. This scan is ready to go. So this time I'm going to add some filters. Source price adjustments. Now this is the most important filter that you will ever use. It works a little differently in reverse. You've got to put the details of the store price reductions in the settings, and that's just due to the nature that reverse actually accesses a lot of stores at once. But this is super specific. We're looking at target.com, and we're going to enter some store price reductions. Now, these are artificial because obviously I'm not looking at Target right now, so I don't know exactly how much validity these have. But let's assume they've got a 10% off toys at the moment. That over at Ebates, I'm getting like a 5% discount on Target by using a cashback site, and you definitely want to look into cashback sites and discount gift cards. And it's not unreasonable that I can find a Target gift card for 5% off somewhere, maybe at raise.com or Gift Card Granny or something like that.
Yep.
So these store price reductions will make or break your search. If somebody else has done the homework to find out what to put in these three little boxes here, and you haven't, they will see the profitable items that you will otherwise miss. Because your return on investment down here, you're going to set this for something like, I set it really loose. I set like 10%, and I'll show you why. If you set that at like 10%, and you've got nothing in here, then you might get some stuff which is under that, or let's say you've got 20% under that, even if it comes in at 19% and you've set that to 20, you won't see those results appear in your view data page. But if you've gone and checked out what your cashback opportunity is, your gift card opportunity, your store discount opportunity, and you've bundled that into your calculations, that's going to have a huge impact on what you see, and also the number of sellers that will be on that listing. Because you'd be surprised how many people go lazy and go, I won't bother doing this step. And by missing this one step, makes a huge difference between the people that have been Tactical Arbitrage members for over a year now and are absolutely blazing, making like huge amounts of cash, and those that struggle and say, how come I can't find many products? There's almost every single store that you look at is going to be offering some kind of cashback off somewhere like Ebates or top cashback. And most of those are also going to have like gift card opportunities on one of the stores. If you're serious about getting into fulfillment by Amazon, you want to brush up on your cashback and gift card stuff. Now the other stuff changes fairly organically all the time. You'll have websites that do like 10% off one week or 15% off one specific category another week. Like there was a vitamin sale the other day over at Walgreens. Was buy one particular brand of this vitamin, you got another one for free. So that's as simple as putting in store price reductions 50% on here and then scanning that category. And almost every single one of the products on that page was a profitable item when I ran the scan. And I actually ran the scan during a webinar, and the number of people who messaged me going, man, you've just given away the secret to Walgreens, you've wrecked it forever. I was just trying to show an example, but now I've got to be a bit more careful in doing that.
Oh, man.
Now there is a little tiny green icon here, which is going to help you populate box 1. If you click on that, it's going to just open up Retail Me Not, which is a really popular website to show you who has currently got coupons. And you would have a little read through that to see if somebody's got something that you can fill in that first box with.
Nice. I was going to say also cashback cards too, cashback credit cards. So maybe you need to
I use a little bit of
blank
software
in there too.
I use a little bit of software called Rev ROI.
Yeah.
Now, if I go over to Target, I'm pretty darn sure that I'm going to have Rev ROI installed, and if I click on it, this is a Christopher Grant tool. He's very active in my Facebook group, so make sure you reach out to Christopher Grant if you want this. I don't even think it costs very much. Maybe I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it's under $50 anyway. As you can see here, it's telling you cashbacks. Simply Best Coupons has 5% currently. Top Cashback 2.3%, and discount gift cards. Card Pool has 2.5% off. Okay, I was wrong. I thought there'd be some bigger percentages than that. But this is a super handy tool. It'll help you get to those gift cards and cashbacks quickly. It looks like he's just enhanced it to put coupons in there too. And it says no coupons available. I believe that for Target, depending on the category. But it's usually worth going directly to the site as well, because I can see right here that today only, 40% off bedding and bath. So he hasn't got that showing up in his extension. So you might be missing a couple of things. But going to the website as well, you'll often find some very specific stuff. So you might want to run a scan on bedding and bath today. It's a universal product code site. So if you stack that 40% and you stack that with the 5% that you can get off at Simply Cashback, and then the extra 2.5% off with the gift card, you're looking at basically half price products, which is a great start for us when comparing to Amazon.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I'm going to run this scan. I don't usually remove current ranks. I did install average 30-day ranks and average 90-day ranks. Now, depending on the time of year, I might go 90-day ranks, but this time of year, because it's at the time of this video, it's really close to Christmas. So I usually put average 30-day because the landscape changes so quickly. Remove average 30-day ranks over, let's go 350,000. I'm not going to do much else here. Remove products with an Amazon price of less than $15. Let's just start this scan and see what happens.
Sweet.
So I'm not expecting a lot, because this is toys. We're in the guts of the Christmas season. I am seeing that products are being added, though, and added is actually my favorite tactical arbitrage word, because it means that there's treasure there to look at. Well, opportunities anyway. So let's go see if there is anything decent.
Yeah, just a couple questions for you from chat before we check through these. So does TA have any Canadian sites added? I know you guys
definitely
have a lot of different countries supported now. You just added Spain not too long ago, right?
And I don't know if we've unlocked it though, but we've started adding French sites. And
Nice.
This is my version of tactical arbitrage, which normally has some unlocked stuff in it
Right,
that
so it's
hasn't
like the
quite
alpha,
been
right?
released yet. Yeah, this is like stuff. It's a testing room for me. It looks like everybody else's, but normally, like in these drop-down menus, see, it's also got France and Italy at the bottom.
Yeah, I don't think that's released yet.
Yeah, if you got to check your own drop-down, you might find that France isn't there. I should be able to select that and see whether or not he's added anything yet. So we've got a site there called FNAC, which is one of the bigger French department store sites. So that's ready for me to launch when I do. Spain we recently added, and there is quite a few in there. And Canada, I keep saying to Canadians, please send me more sites to add because I'll happily add them. At the moment, we've got quite a few, but that could be a little bit more robust. I'm open to adding more. UK is our second highest number of stores right now, and that's a pretty sizable list at this point. And the USA is winning with around 350 or maybe more sites. We keep adding them all the time. I actually lose count. We're approaching the 700 mark anyway at the moment. My goal is by about mid next year to be reaching the 1,000 store opportunities. And that the more stores we have in there, it's going to make the reverse search feature more robust too, because it's going to be pointing backwards at more store choices. But and I digress a lot, so you're going to have to rein me in with some questions. But you can
what about Mexico? Do you have any plans for that?
Yeah, I will add Mexico. We've recently had more people, and I'll probably be adding Brazil as well.
Nice.
So we've had quite a large Brazilian contingent join Tactical Arbitrage too. So ultimately, the plan is for everything. And the second level of that is that you're going to be able to run a scan at some point that automatically gives you the international options as well. So like, let's say you're doing this target scan and these toys are coming in, right? So on this row, it's got USA to USA. But beneath it, it's going to show you that if you also send this toy to the UK and we take into account international shipping fees, that you probably get a better return on investment just sticking it in the mail overseas and actually selling it on the UK store. So so that's coming as well, the international variant. You can deliberately choose those options right now. So I can actually choose USA to UK, and it'll do that international component, and it changes a few things down here, like the costs actually change to pounds, and it also has this extra function that pops up that says the cost per pound to ship overseas. So there is all these different variable ways you can use TA to generate income. And I should also say that you can run simultaneously a product search, a flip, a reverse search, a library search, and a wholesale search. So if you're only running one scan at a time, then you're not really maximizing your potential for earnings. That's quite a lot of people who run heaps of scans, and they get their virtual assistants to go into their rooms, analyze the data in each room, and keep the good stuff, throw away the bad stuff, and then present to you at the end of the day the list of what's risen to the surface of the items that they think are a worthwhile buy.
Yep.
So that's a good way to streamline everything to truly maximize your income.
Yeah, and then a lot of people actually, they'll sell those lists too to other people. So that's definitely
totally. And we made a feature in here that allows you to now export those lists for you to sell. So what you would do is you can go through here and you can turn off a bunch of these columns. Like, say you don't want the product image, you don't want, you can clean this right up so it's only got the sort of stuff that you would want to have on a bolo list that you hope to sell people. Okay, so you do that, and then you narrow it down to the number of rows you want, and then when you export, you get download, you can select download just the visible columns and rows. So you can actually clean it up so it looks just the way that you want to sell it, and then export that CSV. So it'll save you extra work in the CSV later on. Then you can just upload that stuff to Gumroad, and so we don't have any problem at all. Like, people will say to me, do you have any problems with me selling any lists of I say, don't do what you want. Any way that you can recoup the cost of your Tactical Arbitrage subscription, that's just clever. That's just smart business. So
exactly. I'm part of a group that does the list too, and it's like $100 a month, and there's like 50 people in there. So you do the math, that's 50 times more than what you have to pay for Tactical Arbitrage a month. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I totally respect the hustle. Any way that you can come up with a lateral thinking method to generate extra dollars by using TA, and I mean, I applaud that wholeheartedly. So we're getting an awful lot of stuff being added to the view data page, which is crazy. I mean, I kept my filters really loose, and I got to say, there's one thing that I did do, which is kind of cheating. You have to take this into account with all the products that are being added. Is I put in here some artificial store price reductions. So this 10% store price reduction, that's not really real. The 5% was totally possible, but the other 5% should have been 2.5%. So I do have a little bit of a cheeky bunch of products here, which maybe I shouldn't be seeing all of these. But that in mind, even with that extra 10%, we are seeing a lot of items rise to the top. Now, I didn't put in there, tell me if the items are out of stock. So you know how it says here, remove out of stock products. I don't use this button a lot, and the reason for that is Tactical Arbitrage has a feature built into it that I added a little while ago, where if you see something with a really good margin, you can actually send those items to a saved data page, and then you can set Tactical Arbitrage to check that folder multiple times in a day and send you an email or an SMS to say to you, hey, by the way, that product, it's now profit of 37% ROI, and it's now back in stock over at Target. I mean, what huge advantage that gives you. You can then be like the guy who's bothered to take the time to set up that alert, and then just jump on the computer and say, wow, let's buy Target out, or as many Target will let me buy, and
Right.
and then you can be the one to get that profit because you got that alert come up on your phone. So
Yeah, I
so
honestly
that's
I didn't even know that was a feature. So you have a folder and you have it set to auto update.
Yeah, so I can't open my settings so it'll reveal my keys, but one of the things we've been doing is releasing all these videos. So like I said before, the video guide will pop out and it'll show you all the videos for that page. But settings at the moment, it's going to be blank. But we're doing all 19 settings videos in the next 2 days. So I would expect that come late Thursday, you'll be able to watch all of those. And I definitely recommend you watch the auto alerts and updates video. It's going to give you a completely new advantage if you haven't already started using it to get ahead of other people.
For sure.
I just added this button yesterday, this stop search button, and I totally did it for myself because most people aren't going to use that button because they're happy to just let the search run till the end. But I do a lot of testing, and I didn't like having to go back to this page and stop the search all the time, so I stuck that stop search button in there. Somebody's going to use it, I know.
Oh, I'm sure I will sometime.
All right, so there's 629 items here. There's profit. There's no doubt in my mind that there's profitable items here.
Oh,
and this is toys at Christmas. So let me turn that product image back on.
So a couple people are asking, and I think I already know the reason why, but they're asking why your search is so much faster than theirs.
Well, so if you don't have cache turned on, this is not an admin thing. This is just a settings thing. Mm-hmm. Everybody by default, when they very first have a subscription of Tactical Arbitrage, has their cache set to 1 day. Now, cache is a setting. What it will do is if I go all the way to the right-hand side, I'm not sure if you can see the very last column. Actually, it's switched off. It's, where is it? Last update. Okay. I've actually got it over on the far left here. So you should be able to see it. So the last update, this means that the last time somebody did a live search on this product was on the 29th of November at 1:03 a.m. So this is based on server times and whatnot. This isn't based on necessarily your local time. But that means that a live search was done within the last 24 hours, and it's giving me that data accordingly. Now, a few things can change in a cached period by the time that you get this data. A price may change slightly, which will affect return on investment. A in-stock notification may go from yes to no. That does happen. Like if I was to check this product now, I may find that this particular item is no longer in stock. And a few other things like that. But cache will get you your data very, very quickly. It looks at like 100. They were adding stuff that was getting added to view data page so fast at some point, we had to throttle it a little bit to like 0.01 or 0.1 of a second between each item because it was adding it so fast the servers were actually tripping over because it's getting that data like raw. But if you are operating a live search, or if you're visiting the site at least 24 hours after the last person got any live data, then yours will operate at more like the 2 to 4 second per product speeds. That's site dependent. Some sites it's like about every 1.5 seconds. Target is about every 1.5 seconds you'll get a new product, whereas some other sites may take 5 or 6 seconds per product, and they're a little bit more painful. Now you can actually ameliorate that by going into your settings and adjusting your cache length out to as long as 5 days. And that's going to be much more likely to collect a scan done by another user in the last 5 days. But my recommendation is actually to leave that cache length nice and long at 5 days. And then if you see anything that particularly appeals to you, then update it. You can update it right here on the page with the update data button, or you can update individually row by row, just clicking on one of these update data buttons. And what that'll do is it'll go and visit the source. It'll go and visit Amazon. It's going to collect the fresh data, tell me if it's still in stock, what the return on investment still is, etc., etc. Now, unless Marvel is heavily restricted, I'm having trouble understanding why this product is available still. I'd need to analyze the match a little better, but the UPCs look good. We're going to duck across and have a look at the keeper graph on this. Now that's selling like crazy. Now we just added the other day the estimated monthly sales column, and this is super handy. Of course, you can see that this is selling 74 units per month approximately, and that's enough for you to say, well, I can send in several of those, but I really want to show you something. And I don't have the column switched on. I'm going to have to switch a few of these columns on, sorry. Number of sellers, Amazon category, etc. Save. This little microscope feature here. This is called Tactical Edge. And it's funny, I add things from time to time and I expect, sometimes I add something and I expect everyone to go, oh my God, that's amazing. And other things I don't think I'm going to get much of a response on. But Tactical Edge, I got a really good response on. It's this little microscope and it'll take this product into a separate page and it's going to spit out some data on that page, who's selling this item and how many units they've got left in stock. It'll also tell me if I price my item at the higher prices that some of these guys are pricing it at, what my return on investment will look like. Now, so this is pivotal to why I choose a really low percentage in profit and ROI. Why I only keep data if gross ROI is at least 10%. I keep that really low because I might pop on into this Tactical Edge room and find out that there's one guy who's priced really low who has 1 unit in stock at $30.95. And then the next guy above him is like this $35.63 guy. And I can see that it's selling 74 units a month. Like by tomorrow, it's going to be up at like 52% ROI and not 41% ROI. So I think it's good to actually keep your ROI a positive number, but keep it nice and low. And then when something piques your interest, then go on into Tactical Edge and analyze it further.
A question about Tactical Edge real quick. So a lot of sellers, especially now, are starting, to restrict how many units you can buy, and I know that that's messing with the in stock on Keepa. Does Tactical Arbitrage pull the data for how many they have in stock the same way? So if they were to, let's say you can only buy 2 from the seller JJMK, and so he's showing 2 in stock, but he could have hundreds.
But he actually has 400.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a very real problem, and the problem still exists. It's in my job list to be addressing actively because we have found it's a triangulated algorithm which I believe will settle it. So what happens is this, right? We can also talk to the Keepa API. I've got a good relationship with Marius, who runs Keepa. Obviously, he's aware of us and we're aware of him. We're 2 of the bigger players in the space, and so we talk from time to time. But I discussed this with him. I said, look, this is a real hassle. Like it says here 2, and this guy might have many more, and it'd be really good to at least flag this guy as a capped seller. If we can't get his accurate numbers, I at least want to have a little circle beside him saying this guy is capping his numbers, because then we can take that into account rather than say, okay, it sells 74 a month. We're going to plow through these guys, in the space of a week, and then we find out that there's one guy along the way who's capping items. So yeah, I'm well aware of this issue. Now the algorithm that I've worked out is that if I can see that the stock level hasn't changed in X period of time, if it continually says 2 and the rank is over a certain amount, then that indicates to me that he is a capped seller. So we are actually looking into that in a pretty big way. The only problem that we're having with this algorithm so far is that if the guy is position number 6 seller or something and he's capped, then it could be that the reason why he's been sitting there for so long is that the guys in front of him have just been selling their products.
He's not sharing the buy box.
Yeah. So I think the algorithm's almost okay, and I presented it all to my developers, but these queries got raised. I don't want to release something that's not actually accurate until it is accurate, and I'm happy with it. I've got a bit of an ethos with tactical arbitrage that I have to release each step when I'm comfortable that it's working as well as possible. Inevitably, there is still things that come up and people say, oh, by the way, that new feature, it could be better if you did this. And so we do learn things and pick up little bugs along the way. But for the most part, I try and make sure that things are right. And I wouldn't want to release that feature until I was confident that it was giving you the correct data. So what I could do, though, is put a little, in the meantime, I could put a little note at the top of this page saying in-stock levels may not always be accurate based on what you're talking about there. So that could be good, because if anybody who's taking this as gospel,
right?
Once upon a time, less people did that cap thing. It was Amazon doing the cap thing. It was Amazon just restricting, an Imaginext Batman helicopter, a maximum 3 per customer, and that was pretty much it. It was really just Amazon doing that and a few other people. But more and more lately, I'm seeing sellers start to cap their products. I'm not entirely sure of the logic behind it. You'd think they'd want to sell as many as possible, but I'm sure that there is some reasoning behind it.
I think it's just to be rude to everyone, just so no one else can see how many they have in stock. That's the only thing I can think of, because like if someone wants to come in and buy 20 of my product, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, why wouldn't they just stock like 2,000 then, and then it'll just say 999 and that'll be done with it,
Exactly.
That's the other thing that we're probably never going to be able to get around, is that 999 limitation.
Yeah.
We found a very small loophole which is non-accessible by any API. That if you actually use an Amazon business account, which you can set up fairly easily, the Amazon business account, you can normally find out when what the figure is above and beyond the 999. But extracting that without scraping, that's difficult. I've got a pretty strong stay within Amazon's terms of services rule, because the day that I step deeply outside of those terms of services is the day that tactical arbitrage may have issues. So, for instance, we released a feature a little while ago which told you which items were hazmat and which weren't. And then we found out that the guy supplying the third-party hazmat data to us, because we were buying this data, this updated list of ASINs, we found out that he was doing that by scraping the data from Amazon directly. And I said to him, well, I'm not the one technically doing it, but because I'm aware of it and it's through these channels and you're kind of scraping Amazon and stuff, and that's outside of the terms of services, then I had to kill the feature accordingly. We've managed to stick a ton of cool stuff into tactical arbitrage while staying within the rules of the terms of service. And I guess that's why to date we've never had any issues, or we've never had any breaches or issues with Amazon so far, which has been excellent for us.
Yeah, for sure. I would hate to see you guys shut down because you're violating the terms and you didn't even know it or something like that.
Yeah, well, we do actually reach out and communicate with Amazon periodically, so I don't expect any surprises. But good. Yeah, good. It's always good to stay within those terms of services, just as a generally good rule of thumb.
Nice.
So what else would you like to know?
I had
Covered.
a couple questions. As far as I saw that you had posted not too long ago about working on a new mismatch algorithm to better match products, and I know that that's kind of a complaint a lot of people have sometimes is they get a lot of mismatches. I know that you were saying use UPC matching stores, but is there anything that you're working on for those non UPC stores as far as minimizing the mismatches?
Yeah, there totally is. So the mismatch thing for me is a bugbear as well. Quality control for me is really important. So there's two things that I care about. One is speed and one is accuracy. Now the speed thing we managed to settle that debate a lot by integrating the cache feature. People really liked how cache increased the speeds. For the most part, updating cache still gave the same sort of results on the products, and so cache was a really big thing, and the speed debate kind of went away. We don't really get people commenting on our wall anymore about speed because using the cache feature properly, that nailed it. The other thing is accuracy. The UPC sites, we added this use UPC sites only feature, and again, people sort of stopped mentioning it. But in the back of our mind is always this title searches where some title search sites match really poorly, particularly clothing I've found.
Oh
And
yeah.
this has to do with the way that the APIs are used and the way that we're searching. So let's say, for example, all we've got to go with, we don't have any universal product code at all. All we've got is a title. And let's say the title here just said dog bowl. And I use dog bowl as an example because we had to shut down a website called Big Lots as one of our choices because they had some really, really basic titles like large bird cage and stuff like that.
Great.
Now, even if I'm using the Amazon API and I'm really trying hard to find the correct match for large bird cage, it's going to give me 50, 100 options. And it might try and push the higher ranked item or the more reviewed item to the top, but there's a pretty good chance that that item is not going to be a match. Now, we get some sites where the title is written impeccably. It's got the part number built into the title. It's got the size. It's got the color. Everything about that title is an exact match over at Amazon. And the title matches for those sites, it's as good as any UPC site because consistently we're just getting match after match after match. And the other thing we did to ameliorate the issue is that we added a ability to edit the ASIN with the correct match. So let's say this is the wrong match. And I'll see if I can find one that's been matched by somebody already. No, oh yeah, this one down at the very bottom here. So you can see this item here is purple. That means that one of our users has gone in and actually updated the ASIN for the correct ASIN, and it's showing accordingly the correctly matched product to everybody in the database. Now, I also added in the option to mark items as mismatch, but then at some point, some people started to abuse that system and they started to hide items. So I had to remove that feature and then add in a feature to also show mismatched products. So it started to get a bit messy. But about a year ago, I went, enough's enough, I want this fixed. So I started on a very long-term project with a lot of people hired and fired along the way, and a lot of people very much smarter than me in rooms talking about some very advanced algorithms and curves. And essentially what it's doing is it's going to and I haven't really told people the secret yet, but I'll say it now because we're so close to release that if anybody else out there was going to try and start making this algorithm from scratch, I know the long, hard year they've got ahead of them. And I know I want to say I'm 2 weeks away from releasing, but I'll be in Hawaii in 2 weeks and my guys might still be fine tuning it and polishing it, but I'm probably not going to press any of the go buttons until I get back from Hawaii. But can you see how this and this look the same?
Yep.
Like that and that. There is no questioning, right? If this said large bird cage and this, and there was 50 large bird cages were returned, but one of those large bird cages was this. Why is that jumping around like that? It's messing with my story. But anyway, if those were an exact match, then the software would know to send that through. Now, that might sound really simple. They might say, hey, that's just a Google image search. It's much, much, much more complex than that. Because you see how this guy's facing this way, and this guy's the same dude, but he's facing this way. I don't know why they're jumping around. It must be because it's on the edge of the screen. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it is. So I wanted it to be able to also work if these guys are pointing completely different directions as well. And this guy's got a little man on the screen with him as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that wasn't really enough still. Implementing like things that look the same can still bring a lot of false positives. So then the title comes into it again, you know. So it still has to be large birdcage. That's still those little accuracy points still need to come into play. And all these little accuracy points bring up this really complex weighted score. And we weight a little bit depending on the rank and depending on the category, depending on everything for certain images and titles. And we rank a little bit the other way depending on other images and titles. And at the end of the day, we are spitting out these tests that are just blowing my mind because we are getting, I don't know what I can really sort of show you from, you know, in our backroom tests and stuff. I've got some, I've got some kind of stuff, I don't know if you can sort of see. I've got these little testing rooms and in the testing rooms we run all these score algorithms, and there's results for titles and there's results for images, and they all combine together. And like this particular item would normally match with this first book here, and that's no good, right? We don't want to be matched with that one. But you can't probably see the scores, they're off the screen, but actually the score that's ranking by far the highest, like 3 times higher than anyone else on this page, is actually this bottom one here. So this is the item here that you would be presented with instead.
We can't actually see what you're showing because it's still on Chrome.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny how it's done that. That's kind of strange. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I've just opened up another pop-up window, but all right, I can't show you. But nevertheless, it's exciting. It works really well. We're getting amazing results with it, and it's going to have some thresholding built into it. So it's going to be like this, right? If we need a score of 85 to absolutely be certain that this is, really sure that this is a match, then we're going to present that to you. And the idea is that if it's below 85, we just don't show it to you. But then I want to also put in the settings that you might want to slide that back to also see things up to like the 80% mark, or slide that back, because you might say, well, I don't really want, there might be 2 or 3 good ones still in the 80 to 85 range, and I still want to look at those. So I kind of want to, in my head and the conversation with developers, I kind of want to put in there that we adjust the threshold by default to say 85, which is going to like clean up so many results, and with the option to sort of throttle that back to see more stuff if you want. So that's kind of how it's playing out, and based on that, everything that was ever put into the mismatch room, once I know that these tests are good and we're either seeing good results or we're seeing results under the threshold, we're just going to return all of those products back into the database. So suddenly we've got all these extra products, and we do favor items that are these identical items.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That if it's identical like that, identical, then even if the title is wildly different, you're still going to see that item. You're still going to see that product.
Sweet.
So we've been indexing I don't want to say hundreds, but it's 100 and something million products, and up to about 3 to 6 images per product. More if there's variations, and we've been indexing those for months.
Wow, that's a lot of servers.
It's very complex. It's not something that we just did in an afternoon. We've been working on this around the clock. So I've probably sunk close to $50,000 into just this alone, just this feature alone, because I want it to be the benchmark. I want this to be like the gold standard, hands down, when it comes to matching. There's just no substitute for tactical arbitrage. and I won't really be satisfied until that's the case.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the matching. That's kind of like nobody else has kind of had that information yet. That is the most up to date story I can tell you on matching so far.
Sure.
I wish it had been released already, particularly pre Q4. But we ran a bunch of tests pre Q4, and there was some stuff that didn't, we had some good results, but we had some results I said, no, it's still not good enough. We still just take it back to the lab and add this and do that and change that. And if it's an 8-ounce product, I don't want it matching with a 1.7-ounce product. I want it to match with an 8-ounce product, And there was a lot more to it than that. So
is that going to help? Getting there. Is that going to help with like packs of products? So like if Amazon's selling like a 2-pack and you are showing a 1-pack and correcting the
that's different again.
Really?
That's different again. That's the quantity algorithm, and that's coming too. Great. We actually set it so you could crowd source quantity. So you basically change the quantity, and everybody sees the changed quantity.
Nice.
Once again, I can't necessarily say too much, but I believe that some people started to game that system and say put in an inaccurate quantity amount.
Mm-hmm.
So we're bringing in a new thing. It's not, see, the reason, the thing is I don't like to talk about it is A, I don't want to give bad people ideas, and B, it's not that proliferate. When we go through lists and lists and lists of these, we might be scrolling for pages and pages, and then we'll see one that's been marked 6 and when it should have been marked as 3. And we can just change that ourselves in the back room, and we've got guys who work on sort of fixing that stuff. But there are some bad results out there. So we've worked on a new algorithm for quantity, and it kind of works like this. Amazon does have the quantity in the API, but it's only correct 50% of the time. It's that one API call where it's only correct 50% of the time. So we're gonna feed into it everything that's currently being matched through our quantity crowdsourcing thing. And everywhere that the Amazon API quantity matches the quantities that have been crowdsourced by our users, everywhere that that's a match, that means it's been sort of triangulated. So we will lock that in. Now, anything that's not a match, we're going to probably require more than one person to be able to lock that in for the correct quantity. The other option that we're considering is that we're going to allow people to uniquely change quantity for when they need to, and then that will only affect their own database and nobody else's. So we're going to find that sweet triangulation between the API user input and what data we've already collected to clean that up, and that'll be sort of a January thing. I really want to get the other matching sort of algorithms out of the way first, and then I'm going to get into that quantity matching. That's really the last thing I've got to do, what I call like a cleanup, stuff that I'm not, 1,000,000% happy with, as far as it's always been sort of the bad title matches and when the quantities aren't really right. Everything after that's going to be gravy. We're going to be adding all sorts of stuff like that international feature I talked to you about. Wholesale search, I'm pouring a bunch of development into that right now.
Nice.
Library, I want to revisit that because Amazon keeps changing their algorithms on the books. And I want to try and make that work for more countries because it really works best for USA right now. There's lots of stuff that we're doing. We're doing a pile of stuff. We're going to be integrating eBay. When people sell on other channels like Walmart and Jet, we're going to be integrating all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
I can't see any end to the growth of tactical arbitrage for the next year or more. The list of things I've got to add is out of control. And there's so many things I'm adding. I keep forgetting to do things like go to my homepage and update, just the look of the site when people first visit tacticalarbitrage.com. There's images on that homepage which are like from the old interface before I upgraded to this new pretty looking thing. So, I'm only one guy, and I've got a lot of guys working with me, but they tend to default really to the instructions that I send their way, and if I don't tell them to do something that day, then that doesn't get done. So
for sure,
it's a lot of fun. Sure. It's I love having made this treasure hunting tool that helps people earn an income for their family. It's cool. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean I enjoy it, and I know lots of people that do too. So really cool. Really cool.
I'm gonna bounce back to the room now in case there's been any.
Yeah, we've been going for about an hour. So I mean, if you want to close it out, maybe just answer a couple questions, but I haven't really seen too much. Um, some people asking us to do Amazon flips, but I mean that would kind of take a while, so maybe another time.
I can tell you briefly what Amazon flipping is.
Sure.
Um, it's essentially buying from Amazon while they have a reduced price, or maybe they've momentarily come back into stock at the list price, which may be say $11.99 for an Imaginext helicopter Batman toy, and then they go out of stock, and suddenly all the FBA sellers are selling that item for $67, and it still sells because you've got Joe, nobody at home, and his kid really wants this toy, and it's approaching Christmas, and $67 seems expensive, but what are these toys worth anyway? And
Exactly.
so it gives you the opportunity to detect those items when they drop down to say $11.99, and collect those, set tracking so that you can find out when you can buy those items through the keeper tool, duck in and buy them, and then flip them back onto Amazon. Send them right back into Amazon, put them right back on the shelf as an FBA seller, and maximize your profit.
Absolutely. It's just really good to do right now, because Amazon's going to absolutely run out of stock for a lot of products this winter. So then you come in and sell it for two times what they're selling it for.
Absolutely.
Cool. So I think let's finish it up here. So thanks for coming on with me and talking, and everybody, thanks for coming and watching. And I'll see all you guys in my next stream.
Thank you very much. Cheers.